Whether you know it or not, you are in the business of sales. We're going to talk about it on today's podcast. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm so glad you joined me today. We are going to talk about sales for just a little bit today, and as I said in the intro, whether you know it or whether you don't, you are in the business of sales, and in fact, you are selling something every day. Yes, you are, whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not. So whether you're an actual salesperson, if you are, you probably know this already, right? Or whether you are just staying in your own business, working for somebody else, or whether you are an up-and-coming entrepreneur, you know you're trying to sell something all the time. But let's talk about the most important sale you will ever make in your entire life, and it's an ongoing sale. This is what's challenging. You have this number one ongoing sale that you are constantly trying to make, and it is the toughest customer you will ever have. You know who it is? It's you. Yes, it's you. It is you. You are the number one most challenging customer that you will ever have to sell. Now think about this for a second. We're always trying to sell things, right? And different things, right? You are trying, if you're in business, to sell an item like e-commerce, you're trying to sell a product. If you're in the business of coaching or services, you are trying to sell that service, that expertise, that knowledge. If you're in the business of a trade of some sort, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're an engineer, you're trying to sell that skill that you have. And so somewhere along the way, you went in and you tried to sell that thing. If you have children, you know you're constantly trying to sell them as well on ideas. Hey, let's all go do this. And if you have more than one child, then you know the dilemma I'm talking about, right? Because when you decide you're going to do something fun, you've got to sell all of the children on it, not just one, right? Because otherwise, you're going to have some unhappy children. And so you work on selling them on the way. So it doesn't matter whether it's business or whether it's ideas, or heck, it could even be your spouse. But here's the thing. Those are all child's play. They're all easy compared to this one sale of selling yourself. You are the most challenging. And part of the reason is because you think you know the truth about all of the things going on in your world. And there's a challenge there, right? Because you think you understand and you get everything that's going on, but what you have to realize is that you created the filters in which you actually take in the world. And this is the challenging part, because you say to yourself, well, I know this is the truth according to your filters. And so what is the solution to that? Well, there's lots of things that we can do, but one of the things that is hugely important is growth and education. You've got to get new perspective. You've got to be able to broaden your horizon so that you can actually use the filters, the natural filters that you have, like your eyesight and your hearing and your touch and your taste and your, all of your natural five senses, to take in stuff, filter it, and be able to come out with what it is that you understand that's going on in that situation. Now, why does that matter? Because as you get these things coming in through your filters, you're deciding what it is that they mean to you. You're deciding what these situations and experiences you have on the outside. And then you're using your own filter to be able to determine what it is that you're going to do to take action, right? So you're deciding, what does that mean and what am I going to do about it? And as you do that, what you're going to start to see and notice, as you can actually get in the way of those filters and go, yeah, okay, where did I get that filter? Well, every time lightning strikes, I cover my head and I run. Okay. So where did I get that filter? Somebody taught me about it. I learned about it. I watched it uh, hit a tree once and it destroyed the tree. Wherever you got that filter, you decided what it meant, and then you decided to do something about it. Now, how does this apply to you selling yourself? Well, it's easy. You have these filters and you've decided what these truths are that you operate off of in your world. And from there, you then started selling yourself on what it is that you were going to do about it. Now, that's pretty deep, but the idea is simple. You sell yourself every day. Now, sometimes I hear this a lot because I deal with this a lot for a lot of people. You might not believe in yourself. And this right here is the sale of the century. You've got to sell you on your belief of you. Now, what do? Well, if we took a page out of the book of sales, so to speak, then you've got to actually be able to come up with a compelling story of why. And some of your stories, if you've listened to that version or that episode of the podcast, some of your stories suck. Some of you are telling yourself stories that aren't necessarily true. They're one version of the story. And we always know there are at least three, if not multiple more, of a side of a story. So you're telling yourself one side of a story, and you are taking that as a truth. And then you are using that story, that why, to keep convincing yourself that you are not capable of doing something else. Therefore, you might not have the belief in yourself. Now, I know that's deep. However, you have to have a good why. You have to have a good story about what it is that you're selling you on, right? And I'm not talking about selling you to somebody else. No. Talking about selling you to you. And I know that's a challenging subject to talk about because the words get confusing. But you have to buy in to you, to your skills, to your abilities, to your capabilities, right? And I love the word capabilities. Like you put on a cape like you're a superhero, because you are a superhero. You are amazing. You have the ability to do some pretty ridiculous things. Sometimes it's just a matter of selling you selling yourself on your amazing, ridiculous capabilities. And it starts with a good story. Starts with a good why, right? And that why is what builds up that story. Now, once you have a good why, then you've got to go in there and start to provide a little bit of logic, because your logical mind will take over and go, well, that's nice and froofy and that's wonderful. Oh boy. But then you need some proof. And so you look at it and you go, well, look, I've done this and I've done that and I've been able to accomplish this. And so you go back in and you start to actually provide some logical explanation to that why. Right? And this is huge. Then you have to create a little bit of urgency behind all of that, the why and the logic. And then you got to create a little bit of urgency to yourself to actually get that belief going. So you have to actually get some motivation and get moving on the thing that you are trying to believe in, which is you. And I know this is a little esoteric, but for some of you, this is going to click in and it's going to make a lot of sense. You've got to believe in you, and you have to sell yourself on you, and you have to sell yourself on you every day. Every day, you have to tell yourself why you are amazing. And I know that could sound like egotistical or bloated or conceited or whatever maybe story you've been telling yourself, but you are a superhero. You have to actually decide, hey, I'm going to tell myself that I am capable, that I am able. I'm able to make decisions. I'm able to take in information and put it back out in a really positive way. I am capable. Now, it could be for any skill you have, whether you're an artist or whether you're a plumber or whether you're an electrician or whether you are a salesperson. It doesn't matter. If you don't believe in you, if you can't find that authenticity of believing in you first, then life is rough, because other people will see through it. They'll see that you don't have that authentic belief in yourself, and you're going to have a hard time selling whatever it is you have beyond you. And so we have to find a way to believe in ourselves and sell the most challenging thing we have to sell: us. We have to sell ourselves to us on a regular basis, because there's so much negative coming in from the outside world that you can actually filter out and go, you know what? I've got this. I am special, and I have special skills and talent, and I believe in me. And once you do that, the doors will open up and you will be able to sell anything else to anybody. It doesn't matter whether it's an idea to your children or whether it's $1 billion deal to the company that you're presenting to. I hope this helps. I hope you can use this and get out there, start working on the biggest, baddest, hardest sale that you have. You got to sell you. We'll see you on the next podcast. Take care. Happiness is a choice. Sadness is a choice. All emotions are a choice. Sometimes doing our emotions doesn't seem like it's our choice, but it is. You have control. You are the captain of your ship, and you must learn how to be the best captain you can be. Let me show you how. Pick up your free copy of my new book, Every Minute, at everyminutebook.com.